Hello and welcome to another episode of Tips from the Swamp by Absolute Control Irrigation Specialists Incorporated. Today we're going to talk about the proper installation of an external surge arrestor to help protect your field satellites from heavy surge or lightning. Surge arrestors typically are a small cube-shaped device that have a threaded nipple mount configuration. They also have 3 wires coming out of them, typically 2 black and 1 white. If you need to check the surge arrestor to make sure that it is okay, what you want to do is use a voltometer set to read for continuity, as we've set here. Take one of your voltometer probes, connect it to one of the 2 black wires, as we have done here and here, and you'll notice that the meter shows no connection. That is what it should be. Next, use the probe, and you want to connect one probe to your white wire, one probe to the black wire, and again you'll notice that there is no connection. Next, connect the white wire to the other black wire with the probe, and you'll notice again that there is no connection. That says that the arrestor is good to use. To install this surge arrestor, you need to locate a point in the satellite where you connect it. In this particular case, I have the chassis out of a Rainbird Par Plus satellite. There is a nipple mount location down here where the power supplies all come in. You can mount it there using the jam nut to hold it. Then you'll need to make sure that you can locate the 2 black wires and the white wire from the surge arrestor. You'll need to locate the neutral wire, white wire, and the hot wire, which is typically black, coming from the transformer. The next thing you want to find is the wire that is connected, or a wire connected to the earth-ground connection, which is going to a ground rod, because that becomes extremely important when you're putting this together. Now the first step is to take one of the black wires, the hot black wire from the transformer, twist those together, and then connect them to the black wire that is in your power supply, coming from your power source, which is your hot lead. Make sure your connections are tight and solid. Make sure you use wire nuts that are of proper size. Next, we want to take the other black lead from the surge arrestor, connect it with the neutral white lead from the transformer, and that connects to the neutral white lead coming from your power supply. Again, make sure your connections are tight and solid so that everything will work properly. And the final step is to connect the white wire from the surge arrestor to the earth-ground connection going to the ground rod by the unit, and those need to connect together, and then connect to the bare copper ground in your power supply wire. If this connection is not made, the surge arrestor cannot function properly, and even though it's there, if it does not have good solid ground connections to earth ground, it won't function to protect your equipment. So now that we have those connections made, it's ready to operate. So we've now connected the black AC hot lead and the hot lead going to the transformer together with one of the black wires from the surge arrestor. We've connected the neutral, typically white wire from the power source and coming from the transformer to the other black wire of the surge arrestor. And the white wire from the surge arrestor is now connected to a connection to the ground rod, earth ground connection here, as well as the bare copper ground wire that runs with the power wire that goes back to a ground connection at the power source. At this point, you now can go back, turn on your circuit breaker, and check and make sure that it does not trip. Then go and check all of your field satellites that are connected to this power source. Make sure that they are all turning on and the displays are showing. At this point, you are pretty much completed with surge arrestor installation. You should install one of these at each one of your field satellites. Now, if they're in place, everything has been working, you come in and you find that the circuit breaker for that power supply has tripped, indicating that there is a short, which has caused it to disconnect. The first step is make sure the breaker is off, then go out and inspect each of your field satellites that are on that power supply. In particular, check the surge arrestor. Usually, you will find that the surge arrestor has done its job. It's protected your satellite, but it's also shorted itself out internally. When that happens, you'll know it when you open the pedestal. You'll have this smell of electrical burnt plastic. You'll also find in a lot of cases that the plastic cube on the surge arrestor has melted and gotten heat and burned a little bit. That indicates that it's pretty much bad and needs to be replaced. If you need to get power on your system and that surge arrestor is the only short causing you a problem, remove that surge arrestor and replace it if you have one, or remove that surge arrestor for now, connect your power wires back up, and then go back in and turn your circuit breaker back on and make sure it does not trip again, indicating another short. If everything then turns on fine, that surge arrestor was your short in the power circuit. It's now out of the way temporarily, and you can still run everything because you now have power back. Remember, you will need to replace that surge arrestor as soon as possible. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for listening. This is Absolute Control Irrigation Specialists Incorporated. For further information about Absolute Control, check our website at absolute-control.com. Thank you very much.